So I ended up, uh, but so I found this one, which was kind of ugly, in my opinion. I mean, it's cute. It's a cute house, cute single family house. But it had been on the market for almost 6 months, and it was severely overpriced when it first hit the market. It was like 350 or something. And then they finally brought it down to 265, which is what I saw. And then I offered 230. They said they wouldn't take anything less than 260. And I was kind of looking at the comps, and I was like, well, it's like still a little overpriced, but they promised to put in an central AC, which kind of helps the comps. Then I was like, okay, well then I think it's pretty close to 260, so that's fine. So we went forward with it. So yeah, it was all just kind of changing my mindset and going, okay, well, I don't love the, some of the things that they did inside, for the renovations and everything. And I'm not getting a super killer deal, but it's also a house hack. So the numbers, will work for me.
So what's your plan with it? So you talked about purchasing. Did you say that you're gonna fix and flip it or rent it out?
No, so it's a house hack. So it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, single family house. And there's a couple different scenarios that I can do with it. I'm either going to turn the part of there's a living room and bathroom on the first floor that I could kind of add a kitchenette to, and then block it off and kind of make it into a 1-bedroom, 1-bath Airbnb unit. And then I could live in the rest of the house. Or I'm thinking about finishing the basement as long as the ceiling height is going to be big enough. And then I can just live in the rest of the house and Airbnb out the basement.
Oh, I love it. You're going to have to take pictures and video and share with all of us so you can watch the journey.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I'll be taking lots of pictures. So yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Definitely.
Yeah, so that's basically the number. Yeah, so I didn't know if it was going to go through or not until probably like earlier because I didn't know if it was going to appraise for the right amount, because it's an FHA loan and it needed to appraise and that whole thing. So yeah, I haven't even started packing, and I'm moving from California to Ohio in a couple weeks.
Oh wow.
Well, at least it's summertime, so that it's not going to hit you till wintertime, how cold it is.
My plan is to rent out the whole house Airbnb in the winters, because I'm probably just going to go to Florida or somewhere else for the winters. I don't know if I can deal with the winters. I'll stay there for a little bit, but maybe not the whole time.
Oh, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. It's great hearing like what people are actually doing in like a real life scenario, right? Because you can like read the books, but then actually like hearing people put it into action. And I think that's really brave, even to like move to another state. Because do you have any ties in Ohio?
I don't. I mean, I have a mentor that stays there sometimes. I mean, for the most part, he stays there like full time now. But I mean, we're more so acquaintances than friends or anything like that. And I've made a couple friends in the area just from networking online and Facebook groups and stuff like that over the last couple of months. So at least just knowing, I don't know anybody though, in the flesh or anything. So.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. And it looks like we had a couple other people hop on. Hey Tao, and then is it Bo? I think you're muted, but hi, we just wanted to say hi. Are you new to the group, or have you hopped on before?
I was here before.
Okay.
But it's been a while since I didn't. I mean, I was kind of busy and working late, but yeah.
Well, welcome back.
Wow. Yeah. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Okay. Did anybody else have any contacts that they had? I think Andrea, you were gonna tell us a little bit.
Sure. So my it was a single family, and I still have it. So I purchased it in foreclosure. Well, I'm sorry, in a short sale, and it was in major disrepair. So I bought it and lived in it while I fixed it up. And one cool thing about this property is I found it on the MLS, and it was within my price range, which at the time was very low. And I contacted the realtor, and she was like, I'm sorry, I can't show it to you because the seller, the guy who lives there, just is not responding to any emails. He just like fell off the face of the earth. So I got his name and I looked him up on Facebook and I sent him a message and I was like, you know, I really like your house. I have two kids. They were really little at the time. It was just the three of us. So I sent him a message. I was like, this house would be, you know, really great for me and my two kids. I want to fix it up. Here's the things I like about it. I know you're going through a tough time. I've gone through the same tough times, you know, so I totally get it. If you're open to a conversation, I think that we could figure out a mutually beneficial solution. And he got back to me. He responded to my Facebook message.
Nice.
He started responding to the bank again and working with the realtor, and I bought it for $98,000. I used an FHA loan. I lived there, fixed it up. Now it rents. The mortgage is $750. It rents for $1,220. The CapEx is next to nothing because, you know, when I first got it, I you know, fixed everything and a long-term tenant in there, and it's valued around $225 now, and I owe $75,000. I gotta tell you, every day I think about sticking a for sale sign in front of it. Just the market's so hot right now, so I wonder if I should capitalize on that or just hold on to it because the cash flows really well, and the maintenance is next to nothing. You know, and I have a long-term tenant, so I don't know. So that was my FHA buy and hold. So it's a house hack.
Where's that one at?
It's where I live in upstate New York.
Oh, I feel, well, this is my personal opinion. I feel like that kind of a property in New York with that, like a long-term tenant and you fixed it up, like, I think I would hold on to that, but that's just me. You could always do like
Yeah.
a HELOC or cash out refinance, and
I was thinking the
pull
same
out,
thing.
Oh, HELOC.
yeah. So doing like the HELOC, yeah. So that's my opinion, but that sounds like an amazing, amazing deal.
Yeah, it was a great deal, and even when I bought it, it appraised, even it appraised like 25, and it was full of furniture, full of dog poop. They had peed on the wall all around. It was nasty. It didn't even have water, and it still appraised for 125, and I bought it for 98. Yeah, I do think you're right. I should hold on to it and get a HELOC, and that would I did the math. I'd pull about 55,000 out of it doing that. You know, with a 70% LTV. Yeah, so I think that's probably what I'll do. And the rates are so low.
We just refinanced on our duplex and we're refinancing on our primary residence now. And we're like, we got killer deal on our duplex and we're getting an amazing deal on our primary residence too. So yeah, I would take advantage of the rates.
What kind of rates did you get on your duplex?
3.67, which is like, we went from like 5.25. And even for our primary, we went from, or we will be going from 4.3 to 2.25.
That's big.
Wow.
I'm at 3.8 with the single family rental. But if I could do a cash out refi and stay at that same rate, I would certainly consider it. Or maybe I'll just do a HELOC.
Well, a HELOC, you'll save on the closing costs, right?
Yeah.
Do a cash out, you're picking up probably what, 3 to 5K for no reason.
Yeah.
HELOC, I mean, you're paying in a different form, but I don't know. They both have pros and cons.
No, I think you're right, Jimmy. I think that is the way to go. And then I can keep using it too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I should be hearing my response here probably in 2 weeks.
Yay!
So I'll keep you guys posted. Still waiting.
For a refinance, Jimmy, what are you working on?
No, HELOC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I applied for 63 and they countered back at 44K. And this was last week and he said 3 weeks. So 2 weeks, we'll find out. So if all goes well, the plan is to use that to get into some type of seller finance that there is room for value add somewhere where I can recycle that money by way of refinancing in the future. Borrowing.
Jimmy, can you, since you're actually going through like the HELOC process for maybe some people who don't know it, and like I actually haven't done a HELOC, I've considered it, but can you kind of talk about like the pros and cons of what that is and how it's structured maybe?
Yeah, I don't mind doing that, but yeah, let me say I'm not a mortgage broker or anything like that, but typically they're still going to follow the same rules as far as your loan to value, your LTV. Same rules are going to apply, but to refinance, the banks, they make money like you, Andrea, you know, I mean, literally 3 to 5K off of doing similar paperwork to the HELOC. So like I said, you could save 3 to 5K. And for me, this is 100% nothing out of pocket. So every bank is different, right? They're covering the appraisal, they're covering everything. So that's the benefit to me. And like Andrea had mentioned, the HELOC you're pulling from, it's like a credit card, basically. Brandon mentioned it in the book. It really is like a big credit card. So you have a 10-year draw period, I think, and a 20-year payback. So it's 30-year total. So if I was to max out the 44K, say I saw something coming up tomorrow, my minimum payment would be stretched out over that 30-year period, right? So it would probably be minimum, whatever it might be, 250, $300, you know, for an example. And then you borrow that, whatever your cash flow is, the delta between that, you work with that. But other than that, I mean, there's no difference. The cash out is you get your money and that's it, right? You get your 75% LTV and you have it. It's a one-time deal and that's it. So it's about all I know.
Great, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. Hopefully it goes well because it's against my primary. So it's not like it's against the duplex either. So I mean, I'm not going in blind, you know what I mean? I'm not going to the roulette table here, but it's something that definitely it's against my primary. So it's something to take serious.
Well, thanks for sharing with us, and you'll keep us posted. And I see we have another new person. I haven't met you, Ryan. Are you new to the group or have you been here before?
Brand spanking new. So
welcome.
Thanks.
Where are you from?
Originally I'm from Hawaii, but I'm out here in Los Angeles, California.
Okay, awesome. And how did you find out about the group?
Unfortunately, I don't know precisely. I saw someone made a comment in one of the real estate groups that I'm in, and I was like, oh, that's something that, because I'm looking for like-minded people. And I just clicked on the link and then it brought me to your guys' group and then I got approved in. So I'm not entirely sure who kind of brought me in, but.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, we're just always curious, but welcome to the group. Yeah. Are you currently working in real estate or starting out?
So I have a few years experience. For the most part, I'm a high-end restaurant server. But then on the side, I also do some entrepreneurial things. And then I do have a small, modest rental portfolio in the Midwest.
Awesome.
Okay.
So I'm actually buying my 5th and 6th house in Southern Illinois this month.
Wow.
Good for you.
Thank you. And it's cool that you guys are talking about HELOCs because that's exactly like the angle or the approach that has got me to having a couple properties to expanding and where I'm at today. So. It's good stuff.
So Ryan, did I miss anything? Did I hack it up or what when I was explaining it?
No, I mean, again, like I share the same sentiment. I'm a student practitioner. I'm not an expert. I'm not a broker, right? I can share my experience of like how I've done it. But to me, it is depending on what you're looking to achieve. I think you put it very well. If you're looking to just cash out and just have that refinance, that's great. For me, it is a far more versatile tool to have a home equity line of credit. So
if I can put some input in, I work in a bank. I've worked in banking for a long time and I underwrite HELOCs and you both did an awesome job at explaining them.
Yeah.
Yay.
Brian,
I would say you're experts.
Say it again.
I would say both of you are experts.
Oh, cool.
Thank you.
Brian, can you share maybe how you've used the HELOCs to expand or
Sure.
to kind of build your rental portfolio?
Yeah. So this has been over maybe about 5 years. I was working full time in the restaurant, and then I accumulated a little extra money for a down payment. And so my first year, I bought one single family residence in Southern Illinois. Then the second year, I did a second property. And then the third year, I did 2 properties. And then I kind of caught wind of a strategy called velocity banking. And so if you guys have never heard of that, it's the combination of having long-term commercial or a regular mortgage, just long-term fixed payment loan, and having a HELOC or a line of credit or a business line of credit, and then putting those 2 together. So that's really kind of a crucial cornerstone part of my story in using HELOCs. So property 3 and 4, in my experience, was just securing long-term financing, just like any other rental. And then I took a personal line of credit and I started chunking down the principal balance. So I was able to take a 30-year mortgage and pay it off in 3.2 years.
Wow.
So it's understanding amortization. So that's a key thing. Like if you guys understand amortization, you pay all the interest up front. So I'm not a big fan of refinancing without having the financial tool of a line of credit, because basically you just extend your 30-year mortgage into a 35 to a 40 every time you refinance.
Because you re-amortize it. Right. Yes.
But that aside, from my experience, I was able to accelerate my mortgage, having been paid off, with my 3rd and 4th house or rental, with a personal line of credit. So I went down to the bank and said, hey, I have good credit. I don't need the money, but can I have access to funds? Because that's usually how banking goes. If you need the money, they're not going to give it to you, right?
Right.
But then this past year, kind of through 2020, I was able to pay off my mortgages. And so now my properties are free and clear. Then I went to a local credit union and said, hey, can I secure a business line of credit with the equity from my houses that are now free and clear? And then from there, I'm going to, like, was it the James? Like,
Yeah.
Basically, I now have an established HELOC against my properties that I'm going to use cash to buy number 5. And then I'm going to do a creative acquisition on number 6. Basically, they're both cash transactions. Once I've acquired them, then I'm going to go back in and then get long-term financing. Once I get that established, then I'm going to come back with my line of credit and skip the first 5 years of interest of that amortization. So that's a little bit more advanced, but it's, if you really want to kind of have the wherewithal to kind of get through the next 7 to 9, 10 years of this economic cycle, having a line of credit is definitely going to be a crucial part of that, for me anyway. So that's my little soapbox.
Talk about creative financing. That was awesome.
That was well said.
Yeah. Very cool.
By the velocity banking too. I watched a bunch of webinars on it a while
Mhm.
back, and so it's really cool to hear it in action.
Yeah.
That it worked.
Yeah, if it really comes down to numbers, if you can just look at the numbers and you can see that they're going to work out, the math works. To me, it's also called sweep. It's a sweep account, is another way that it's referred to. That's more in like a business, like a corporate level, where they have just, it's kind of like the Walmarts or the Targets in like that level of business, where their checking and their savings, like the way that their cash is liquid, it's all kind of together. It's not like on the personal side where you have a separate savings account, a separate checking account, and then like all the others, everything's separate for consumers. But it's more of a mentality for me. How do I use the tool? It's not necessarily, do I shave off a couple interest points for having a line versus a loan? To me, it's like, once you kind of get into a more advanced level of how to use velocity banking, the world's your oyster, because now you don't have to deal with what products the banks give you. You can just kind of make your own, if you will. And I say that kind of loosely, right?
That's awesome. Well, you're definitely going to be helping us in this
Yeah,
book.
absolutely.
Financing.
Yeah.
And and no money down. That's really cool. And you're going to be also a great resource for long distance investing, because you said you're in LA and you're investing in Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
How did you choose that place? Did you have boots on the ground, or did you develop boots on the ground through the years that you've been doing it?
Well, again, it's kind of that I'm super fortunate, super blessed. I grew up in Hawaii. And so right from the get-go, I've been priced out of that market ever since I've, came around. So I was fortunate enough to have my auntie be introduced to a property manager that's based in Southern Illinois, and just kind of through her relationships, she introduced me to him. And then that was really kind of the onset of what can I do to invest somewhere, because I can't afford where I'm locally. And then from that kind of initial conversation really kind of got me to a point where my money made sense in that market versus trying to wait, 7 to 10 years saving up my money for a down payment so I could buy something here in LA or Hawaii, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's definitely a word of mouth type of referral type of relationship where there was someone that I trusted that already had been working with someone else. That was like, okay, that was open door. Like, okay, if so-and-so trusts them, then I'm going to look at investing in that market or buying properties there. And it really came down to the numbers. Like I could buy a set of tires for my truck at home, or I could have a down payment for a Midwest rental property. So liabilities versus assets. Yeah.
Right.
Great.
Brian, can I ask, how
Sure.
do you rent?
Say that one more time.
Do you rent in LA?
Yeah. I live in West LA, so I can't afford where I live. But at the same time, I'm putting my money to work. So I could probably live somewhere in the valley, and I could probably afford to. But the main determining factor whether I rent or own here is just I don't foresee myself being here long term. Like maybe a year or two, especially now kind of coming post COVID, the riots and the governmental decisions and the health boards and all that. Like I'm not in it for staying here long term, especially having property here. So
yeah, California's at an all-time high.
Yeah. So, I mean, if they were making decisions that kind of align with my values, I could consider it, but I'm looking at, buying properties elsewhere, and then using the cash flow to get me somewhere else, because I'm just not interested in being in California long term.
That's what I kind of did too. I was actually in Santa Monica all last year, and then
Yeah.
I'm in Orange County now, but I'm moving in a couple weeks to Ohio to start.
Yeah.
I moved from California 4 years ago. I'm in Costa Rica, but yeah, we did the same. Yeah, we actually sold our house to investors. That's how we got into this. But yeah, California is at an all-time high right now. I mean, it's above and beyond. There's bidding wars going on. It's just crazy to me.
Yeah. Like I was fully prepared, like pre-approved and everything. I was looking at buying a duplex or a triplex a little bit farther away, and then house hacking and doing that whole thing. But then COVID happened and the shutdown happened, and then the market kind of just went crazy. And then I'm like, okay, this really isn't the long-term plan for me. So
yeah, I'd wait on that one for sure.
Well,
absolutely, it's going to crash.
Yeah. Well, conventional wisdom says that it will. If we keep throwing money at the problem, if we throw currency at everybody, then I think it just kicks the can down the road. But that's, my opinion. But for me being almost a 6-figure employee working at a restaurant at a high-end thing, trying to go down the path of home ownership and just really having the uncertainty of that, especially at all-time highs, I'd rather just take that money and reinvest it into my portfolio that I have in the Midwest, because my rental properties, they're smaller purchase prices. The market value is significantly lower than here in California, but my cap rate's almost 10%. So like, to me, that's a pretty good, fair, like use of my funds, use of my effort is, I'd rather put my money there than try and tie it up here for the time being,
Awesome. No, great wisdom in this group. Loving it.
Happy to share, and if there's anything I can be of value to you guys, I'm more than open
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
collaborating. So
Yeah, hey, I do something on Monday as well at 7 p.m. similar to this. This is more of the book aspect. I do something, we just started it, something new, just strictly investing, talking. And I'd love to have you on, brother, because this seems like it. I could talk to you for an hour. All of us could talk to you alone for an hour, and I'm being for real. So if you have time on this Monday or any Monday at 7 p.m., please chime in and either let Jennifer or Hunter know.
Yeah. When you say 7, is that Eastern time or Central time?
Eastern. Mondays, and it doesn't have to be Monday. It can be Thursday too. It's not just Monday. So I'm just saying, this Monday coming up, free jump in. You know.
Mondays
usually
your
time.
Yeah, I could maybe jump on late on a Monday. My Monday is jam packed, and then later on towards the week, the Thursday, Friday, I have way more time. So I could maybe
cool too, dude.
I could definitely do a Thursday. Might be able to do Monday and just jump on after, like later on.
You get a whole hour, dude.
That was a good call.
Because that's fascinating to me. So I want to get this straight, dude. So you have X amount of properties, and some of them are paid off, and you did it within how much time?
So just to clarify, I have 4 rentals in Southern Illinois. 2 of them I have in an LLC, and those had a 30-year mortgage. And because of that concept, velocity banking, I was able to pay off that mortgage of those 2 houses in 3 years and 2 months.
Okay.
Insane. I have to look at, I've never heard of velocity banking. I have to look this up now.
I mean, that sounds like something. Yeah.
It's like I got so deep in the rabbit hole a few months ago.
So let me say this, because I've taken a full day class on it, and the way that I describe it is probably pretty exceptional to everyone else that I've heard talk about it. They kind of come at it with kind of more of, I'm imagining what you kind of saw was more of a presentation of, here's kind of the nuts and bolts and the technical aspects of it, where what I kind of shared with you is kind of more just the result. And that kind of piqued your interest. So a lot of the people that I know that are kind of talking about it, their presentation is more just the process of how to do it, and kind of more just informational. But kind of the end result is that I took a 30-year mortgage and paid it off in just over 3 years. And now I have 27 years to not have to have monthly payments.
Cash flow goes way up.
Yeah, that's fascinating to me. It really is.
And just to be clear, my ability to have it paid off in 3 years was not just the entry level of velocity banking. Velocity banking, if you just kind of do the beginning kind of structure of it, I would say the reasonable expectation would be maybe 5 to 6 years of like having that accelerated payoff.
That's still great.
Yeah.
I had never heard of anybody doing it in 3 years from all the research I did. So that's awesome.
Is there anyone you recommend us to like actually learn from, like look into? Explains it or teaches it well?
I'm sure you can find stuff on YouTube. For me, I have access to an online financial literacy education. If you want to know about that, I can give you my own personal link that I'm affiliated with, and then you can go from there. But if you guys want to shoot me a friend request, we can just stay in touch, and like I'm happy to share. You can pick my brain, kind of that mentality. So
Is that Renatus or something?
Yeah.
That's I went to some of their webinars on it and everything. I have friends who do it.
Yeah. So I'm an affiliate of Renatus. I've taken all their education, and I'm a product of their product. So
Ryan, can you share maybe so it sounds great, but it sounds like there's a lot of maybe moving pieces to that. And I'm sure they've probably shared stories of like the downfall. Can you like talk about like if it's done incorrectly, what those risks would look like, just so that you can, so we've heard the pros, which is phenomenal, but like also so that everybody knows kind of, what the challenges might be with that.
So I'd kind of say I would break it up into 2 points. The first one would be what you kind of alluded to, that there's moving parts. And so I went even before velocity banking kind of came into play, just building personal credit and building business credit for me, I went from having a checking account and like 2 credit cards and a line of credit to having 8 credit cards and having 3 lines of credit and multiple checking accounts, right? And then for me, the biggest challenge was keeping all the logins straight, like all the different passwords and all that stuff. Like I went from just like my own, I went from 3 accounts to, multiple accounts that I was just like, that really, I had to step back and be like, okay, I need to figure out a way to like keep all this straight, because there are, moving money around from different accounts and having different balances. So the easiest way to kind of screw it up, if you kind of go beyond just the entry level concept, is being able to just manage moving money from one account to the other, and just having kind of like a diagram, or being able to articulate all the different accounts that you have. But again, if you have a mortgage and you have a credit card or a line of credit, simply put, you can just chunk portions of your principal onto your line, and then you just pay that down as quickly as you can, and then you rinse, wash, and repeat. So it can be as very simple as someone just accelerating their debt payoff, or having equity in their house and then using that equity to go buy another rental. It can be as simple as that. But for me, I kind of jumped into the deep end of the pool, right? And so I think where you can find yourself having headaches is just having way more moving parts to keep track of. So if you can figure out a way to do that. But the second point would be, okay, how do you screw this up? I haven't done that yet, but I will say one of my mentors, he was sharing his experience in the 2008, 2009 financial crisis. And so he was running a fix and flip business. He had like multiple industries within real estate, and he had large lines of credit that he was, when the crash happened, he was banking on, okay, I can at least make it through this because I can make my payments and I can have that buffer. And so he was depending on that to get him through the financial crisis, and didn't have a lot of reserves because he was making money was coming good. There was no need to have any reserves like that. And so that was his mistake that he shared with me, that I'll share with you guys, is how do you screw it up? If you find yourself in an economic downturn with no reserves and you have like a full line of credit out, what happened to him was the banks, not because of him specifically, but because across the board, there was so much risk and so much exposure for liability that the first things that they cut were the lines, because they were able to, if you had, let's say a $50,000 line and you were at 50%, like at 25,000, what they did was just overnight just cut your available, because they didn't want you, extending even further. And so all the lines that he had basically got reduced to whatever he was at. And so now it was this negative feedback loop, because the banks reduced his available amount. So now he's at 100% utilization. Now his credit score is tanking, and now he's not able to get more funds. And so then it just kind of spiraled, and he, basically got thrown over the barrel. And he's had to rebuild himself financially from that last financial crisis to where he's at now. And he's made it fine, because it's not about the money, it's the mindset. But to answer your question, how do you screw this up, is I would say maxing out your line of credit and not having proper reserves is how you get yourself into trouble. For me, I'm expanding and growing, but I'm also mindful of what should be coming if we don't just keep throwing money, economically speaking, at the problem. And so I'm building reserves as I go. And so I think that should be an important part of not just doing a banking strategy or just having a HELOC, but having reserves in preparation for anything that you don't expect to happen, would be my suggestions.
Yeah, I think that's great. Yeah, I think this has been really valuable. Lots of good information. We're getting close to the time that we usually finish out. So I'm just going to offer up, anybody have any last minute questions or comments?
Yeah, Ryan, what does that do to your DTI there, your debt to income, when you have that much, the credit cards I understand, because if you don't have maxed out, it doesn't affect it. But if you get personal loan, right, you're gonna have fixed installment payments, right?
Yeah.
Like, isn't that gonna affect your DTI or no?
So I can't say, for across the board. What I'll say for my experience has been when I set up my personal line of credit and when I'm setting up my business line of credit, I set the structure of my line of credit to be interest only. And so the actual reported monthly payment is significantly lower,
Really?
like to the credit bureaus, because it's only interest. Now, I'm responsible enough to pay twice as much of whatever my interest payment is. But as far as a DTA, like the income to debt ratio, compared to like a credit card, the credit cards are going to report what interest is owed plus your payment, right? And so to me, what I've done is I've set up my lines to be interest only. So as I'm, kind of maxing out or putting a balance on the line of credit, it's still relatively low,
Right.
because the only thing that's being reported is just the interest charge, not a full monthly payment.
Right.
But
See, and that's why I wanted to do that this Monday meeting, right? Because it's slight nuances like that if I didn't ask you and we weren't listening, or anyone else didn't ask you something simple as an interest only loan is a way around that, right? I would have never thought of that. So like that, this is why this group is so beautiful. This is why I love this group. This is why I love all of you guys. It's amazing because there's a million nuances to this stuff and we all need each other. Like it's amazing. I love it. Thank you so much, brother. For real.
If I could just add, to me, it's not a way around, because of I don't consider it a way around. To me, it is just a factor to consider. But that's more semantics than anything. But the interest only part, is just one portion of having a line of credit that, yeah, we'll save that for another time.
I know we'll definitely have to do like a special creative financing night.
Right.
Because we're wrapping up. So one thing that Hunter has emphasized and that I think is great, and I know Jimmy is completely on board too, is we really want to make sure that this is, we're working towards improving ourselves and kind of helping with keeping each other accountable. And so Hunter's really been, pushing for what are our goals for the month, or even like saying what your goals are for the week. But then like we'll kind of finish out our meetings to share how we were successful on those goals, or so we can help with, figuring out if there's ways that we can help each other be held accountable. So I'm kind of just going to go through one by one, and if everybody could share their goals, and then we'll kind of touch base with those every week and, see how people are moving along with that. Does that sound good? All right. So I'll start with Jimmy. What goals are you working on currently?
How did I know that you were coming to me? A couple of weeks ago, and it was the compound effect, small subtle changes. It was just to make sure 25 push-ups every morning, a healthy milkshake with, and this came from Limitless, was the blueberries, strawberries, all that good stuff. Gratitude prayer, and one minimum of one real estate article, normally 1 to 3. So typically I hit most of those. I'll miss one of them like per day. You know what I mean? It's not consistent, like push-ups every day. It might be this, it might be one. So I'm not going to lie and say I got them all in every day, but I did do some every day, if that makes sense. So there's room for improvement.
All right. Well, we're going to hold you to that. Next is Dan. What goals do you have for us this week? I know you've been doing some great networking with people and meeting new people. So what are your goals going forward?
Yeah, I've been talking to lenders, and I've talked to a few potential mentors. And I think my goal for this week is I want to reach out to agents. Learn that my income is 1099 and it's not going to count towards house. So I got to find like a W-2 or change the way that I structure my income. So I got to work towards that too, and get some financial things in order. So I learned some things this week, but I'm still going to go learn my local market and talk to some agents. That's my goal this week.
Great. That sounds good. All right, Ryan, you're actually the next one on the right. So this is going to be new for you. Ryan, what kind of goals are you working on currently?
So I'm trying to get out of just being analog, because like, as you guys can tell, like I'm doing the real estate investing like offline. So I made myself a commitment. I'm going to do 3 Instagram lives a week just to kind of start building more of a social media presence, just to be more online. So I think that's probably what I'm working on for this week anyway.
Great. Do you mind me asking what your Instagram is?
Sure. Wealth Artistry. And you guys are all welcome to follow. I'm trying to put more content that this is just one of like maybe 9 things that I'm into that I'm trying to piece out some content. So if you guys want to follow me, you guys are more than welcome to follow along.
Yeah, would love to. All right. We look forward to seeing those 3 IG posts. So I'll definitely be adding you.
Well, now I got to do it. Now that you guys are gonna.
Now you're gonna. So I'm gonna add you like right after this. So
that's right. Do it.
Yeah.
All right, Heather. What's your goals this week?
I've just been, ever since the effect as well, I've been kind of getting after, a whole long laundry list every day. It's been a little sidelined the last couple of days just because I'm trying to close this property, but I start the day with the gratitude. I go for a walk. I listen on the walk. I do listen to a real estate podcast. I read 10 pages in the book at least. And then I try to get in a workout and do some networking, and also kind of building my Instagram presence as well for real estate.
Awesome.
But usually I'm usually able to get about 80-90% of them done. So.
All right, so now we're gonna shoot for 100%, right?
Yeah. Once I close this property, I'm back to 100. Yeah.
All right. Kimberly, what kind of goals are you working on?
Sorry, I was muted. I actually want to start listening to more motivational speakers. I've been really gearing up for that lately. And stuff like this. This is perfect. This book that I started listening to today is absolutely wonderful. I watched your guys' YouTube recording I think it was from last month, and that was really powerful. So yeah, I just really start learning a lot more in real estate, to be honest. So thank you for letting us join.
Yeah, we hope to see you guys more often. We're looking forward
to
it.
Our goal, that's the other one, is to be here every week.
Perfect. Well, that will definitely be able to hold you to and see if you're doing it.
Yeah, no, I've learned so much today already from you guys. It's nice to be able to, doing what we do and cold calling and things like that. It's really nice for Jose to learn the type of things that he needs to call, but there's always so much changing with tax delinquent, just everything going on in the world. You know what I mean? So it's definitely educational.
Yeah, well, we're glad to have you, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you.
All right, Amanda, what goals are you working on?
Getting up earlier. I've been doing pretty good about getting out of bed at 7:30. So that's a lot different than over the last 2 years when I haven't had to. So getting up earlier, doing something physical when I first get up. I have noticed the whole rest of my day I have a lot more energy. Like this morning I went to mow somebody's yard first thing in the morning, and all day I had my normal amount of energy that drives people nuts that I haven't had for years, and it's really great because I need that. I have raised bed boxes that I finally get to put together this weekend, and so my garden gets to go in. I have $350 worth of plants and shrubs that need to get in this week. I have a lot of things to do this week, but I also one real goal is to, even if I have to go to Gary's son's house, find out where he lives, I will get a hold of this guy and find out when I can go see Gary's house that he needs to get out of that house and into a smaller one. So that may be my first real estate terror project. So yeah, So I'm gonna be probably calling you a few times, Jimmy, and you're muted.
But we can't wait to hear.
Ugh,
how
Well, I was
scary
saying,
to
put
even
some,
think of it.
Amanda, put some context to who Gary is.
Okay. There's a when for a little bit Jimmy had me going around, driving around Greenville and looking for properties. There's a guy that I drive a bus, like a dial-a-ride bus for our city. There's a guy who is really getting much older and having a really hard time getting in and out of his big old house that he has. And once in a while you just get that you need to help this person. And that I've had that ever since I met Gary. He needs out of his house and into some place that he can get in and out of without falling down, without breaking himself. And he's broke his hip and found out he had some spots of lung cancer just recently. So he needs out of his big house. And so I've been trying to get a hold of his son, who is cleaning it out, supposedly cleaning it out, although I haven't seen that happening yet, to try and maybe get a hold of his house to be able to fix it up and rent it or sell it. I believe it could be made into 2 units instead of the one big giant place. But to get this guy into a smaller house that he can manage, that's what you're saying. So
I think you can do it. Feel free to reach out to any of us if you need help with getting a hold of people, skip tracing or anything like that. But
yeah, I've got the number for his son. I know where his mom lives. Because we pick him up there and he's staying with his mom for a couple more weeks yet. But I've tried to call his son. His son is just not calling me back. And Gary, every time I see Gary, he's like, so did Leroy call you back yet? So it's like, no, tell your son to answer his phone. So
well, stay persistent and we'll see how you progress on that next week then.
Thank you. Maybe I'll get pictures of my gardens for you so you can see that I've done that.
Yeah. Share pictures to the group.
Yeah.
Bo, what are your goals that you're working on? Sorry, I meant to change. I mean, it's Bruna, but anyways.
Bruna. Okay.
I mean, I didn't know. I mean, that it was getting into the Zoom. So, anyways, I'm sorry. I meant to put Bruna, but I didn't see it. But thank you. In regards to goals for this week, I will contact a lender to see how much they approve me for, and then agents to help me, find some deals. I'm not sure yet. I'm going to be targeting. I live in New York, so probably either like New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, most likely New Jersey because it's cheaper. So that's one. And then I love that you guys mentioned about being grateful in the morning, like having like thinking about things that we could be grateful for. And I love that. And yeah, I never thought of that until now. So I will include that to my routine and walk more, try to go to the gym or try to exercise and watch the YouTube from last week too. Because I haven't been able to join these meetings. And I'm so happy that you guys are recording it so we can go back and see it.
Yeah, well, great. I look forward to hearing how that goes next week. Ashley, what's your goals for this week?
Okay, so because I'm going through this transition phase where I'm looking at apartments in Jacksonville, I don't really have anything crazy goals, but I have been consistently since Monday, been going to the gym, 30 minutes of cardio, which I never do cardio, but I've literally ingrained that into me that now 30 minutes is cake, which is so good. And then doing a workout plan for the rest of June, since I'm here in Jacksonville. another cool thing I'm doing right now is like I really want to create a great YouTube intro for the channel for the book club. I told Hunter I was gonna do so. I have a YouTube channel, but I've only posted one video on there, and maybe that's gonna be something I do for the rest of the year too, like vlogging the whole process of relocating at my age and like what I do for work and all that stuff. And so maybe I'll start doing that too and include that into my goals. But oddly enough, the only video I have is what are my favorite books, like on that channel, which is crazy. So that's all I have for goals. So create a YouTube channel, a YouTube intro for the book club, and keep going for 30 days, 30 minutes of cardio, and the whole hour of lifting.
All right.
Hey,
Love it.
I think that
those
it
are
will
good
be very,
ones.
it will be nice too, because like Ryan, for example, he has an Instagram account for real estate, and you have a YouTube channel. If you can, I mean, I don't know if you guys shared that before on the it will be nice to have so that we can follow you guys.
Oh, nice. Yes. You know, I'm going to share. I only have one video, so don't judge me, guys. But
I only have 2 posts on my Instagram too, so don't feel bad.
Yeah, a really cool thing I've noticed now with social media is TikTok is really great if you guys want to build something like consistent but quickly. Anybody who posts on TikTok just goes viral nowadays. So it's like a nice platform to have. And there's a ton of mortgage lenders, realtors, wholesalers that I've learned. I feel like I don't even know how to breathe air at this point because I'm learning so much. I'm like, how did I live so long without knowing this? It's a really cool platform, but it just gets addicting like any other social media. So
Yeah,
beware.
I've heard that too. That's why I know. That's why I haven't hopped on board yet. But
But it's still good. It's a great platform.
all right, Tao is our last one for goals this week. What do you got, Tao?
Okay, so the past couple weeks since we started the book, I adopted daily hearty like snoozing habits. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but I'll do the 3 things I'm grateful for right when I open my eyes or like in the midst of snoozing. 1 person that I'm sending love to or praying for, and top 3 things I must do for that day. So that's my daily goal that I have to accomplish. 3 times a week, I do cardio for 30 minutes. And then once weekly, doesn't matter how I spread it out, but I have to do 25 cold calls. So that's my goal. And 1 blog post weekly is what I'm aiming for this upcoming week.
Nice.
Well, actually, yeah, it sounds like a bunch of people in the group have some social media platforms that they need to be posting to the Facebook group so that everybody can hop on and be supportive. So I'm going to post that in there that everybody needs to do that. So that's a goal that I have for everyone in the group.
One other thing that I have found in the last couple of weeks is if I spend even 5 minutes at night before I put my book or my whatever down for the night, if I spend a few minutes and write down a few things that I'm thinking about that I need to do the next day and put them on paper, I'm finding I'm not thinking about them trying to go to sleep, and I have a start for my day of some goals that I need to get done for that day, and I find that I'm getting a lot more done during the day because I have them written down, a plan for the day. So
yeah, I think that for me it works as well. Sometimes in the middle of the night I think of something, usually related to work.
Yeah. Yeah, write it down, get it out of your head.
Yeah, that works.
All right, guys. So I'm just going to be quick with my goals. I'm finishing up 75 hard. Actually, today is day 60, so I am very close to finishing out. So I got to finish strong. My one goal, this has been chaotic, and it's been my goal for the last 2 weeks, and I have not been successful because the work has been super busy, is I'm trying to write 10 questions per day so that I can get better about asking about people and learning about people. And so I've been failing, but my commitment now is, because I have been so inconsistent, is that I'm going to post those 10 questions to the Facebook page so that you guys can hold me accountable that it gets done every morning. So that's my goal. But it has been a wonderful night, guys. I have loved this meeting, and it's been great to have some new faces hop on here. I can't wait for next week. So next week we're gonna do chapters 4, 5, and 6. And then feel free to, if people are having questions, start posting them, to the Facebook group, so we can start seeing like ahead of time, or people can chime in. Jimmy's gonna have his real estate meeting on Monday, so that's a real estate focused meeting. And then of course we'll have the book discussion. Just happens to be that this month is a real estate focused book, but you guys know that changes a lot with mindset and professional development and all that. So just happens to be this month is going to be all real estate. All right, well, thanks so much, guys, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Yes, we hope.
Bye.
Hi guys.